increasingly it's becoming clear that identity is the core grounding component of I'll say cross-platform measurement. So once upon a time, we meaning the industry, I've been in audience measurement for a long time, we made ratings out of samples, whether it was a panel or a diary based. So we didn't have to resolve identity. In fact, we sampled people, and the identity of the people that the ratings were based on was confidential. The measurement company knew who they were, but if the identity of these people got out, it was scandalous, and it opened up opportunities for ratings manipulation, you know. And I worked at Arbitron for a long time, and you know, if anybody found out the name of a radio diary keeper, it was a big problem. But you know, and then the measurement companies would have the identities of the people in their sample, and they'd measure their media behavior and project it to the population. Today, we use big data assets like smart TV data or set-top box data, or VideoAmp uses both. And we need to kind of glue the device level data from those sources to some kind of spine so that we can use it, so that we can know, you know, so that we can understand how many households and people are involved, but also so that we can append demographics and other information, right? So, for example, you go through an identity spine, and one of the things you're able to get is demography. So without identity, you can't do big data audience measurement. And the better you are at identity, the higher quality of the audience measurement. There's a lot of ways for error to creep in. Error in demography from any one source, match rates and differential match rates among different parts of the population. So the better the job that you do at identity resolution, the better the data, and the more accurate a reflection it will be of what's actually going on in the population. One other thing I want to mention is that once you resolve linear TV data, smart TV set-top box data to identity, now you can also make it cross-platform by taking server log data or pixel data from streamers, from TV programmers and TV network companies and their streaming data, get census level data from them, from digital players like Facebook and Google, et cetera. Facebook, Google, Amazon, TikTok, you know, the major digital players, and append or integrate that data with your identity spine, so now you have a giant footprint of empirical data on how people are watching TV, how people are consuming digital content, and who they are, what their demographics are.
So how do you work with identity, or identity providers, or what does the identity spine mean to VideoAmp?
Yeah, so when I got to VideoAmp, our identity spine was Experian. There's been a lot of data afoot in the industry to quantify the fact that any one source for identity has error. And I'm going to mention the paper that Alice Sylvester and Jim Spaeth did for the AIMM group within the ANA on ethnic measurement. And they noted that the major identity providers did a differential job of matching by race ethnicity. So for example, you were less likely to match Hispanics than the general population. You are less likely to match Spanish-dominant Hispanics than Hispanics. And so this stuff matters. This stuff matters a lot. So what we're doing, and for that and for a whole lot of other reasons, what we're doing with VideoAmp is we're building our own identity graph where we multi-source identity. And so what we do very specifically right now is we've already got Experian, Infutor, and Tapad as signal or input sources into our identity graph. We're working on onboarding 2 more so that we're able to sort of take all the signal from the different identity sources and make the best identity assignment, but also the best demographic distribution. Because what you might find is that, I have these 4 identity sources, and 2 of them say this person's Hispanic, and 1 says African American, and 1 says other. What do? Well, you can understand through an approach like that deployed by the company TruthSet. Doesn't necessarily have to be TruthSet, but TruthSet kind of pioneered this and showed us all the way, to give credit where credit is due. But you can say, okay, when these guys say Hispanic, what's the probability it's Hispanic versus African American versus other? And I can make that same probabilistic determination for all the 4 identity sources, and now I can make a probabilistic assignment based on multiple identity sources that will be more reliable and accurate than if I use any one individual source all by itself. So the big thing we're doing is we talk about commingling smart TV and set-top box data. We're commingling identity providers to build what I think is going to be best-in-class identity graph.